All right, uMkhonto, weSizwe party endorser, former President Jacob Zuma, has lashed out at the ANC government and the use of the Roman Dutch law for his arrest. The former president assured MK supporters that South African laws would be changed if the party fares well in the general elections. Now, the 81-year-old addressed thousands of party followers at Maqongqo outside Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal yesterday. For more on this, we are joined by MK Party Spokesperson Nhlamulo Ndlela. Mr. Ndlela, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think let's start off with a lot of the time what we're seeing around this time as we get, as we get closer to the elections, when political parties have a gathering, certainly with their supporters. We're watching the numbers and the turnout. Where are you in your satisfaction or lack thereof with the numbers that the MK party is able to garner when you do call your supporters together?
Naledi, thank you again and good morning to your viewers. Look, as uMkhonto, we're very excited at the momentum, as you would have seen in the multiple gatherings, the meet and greets, as well as the rallies that we've been attending. Rallies, by the way, that have been organized by the people themselves, as is reflected with the fact that we are a party of the people. We're very happy. There's still a whole lot more programs that are coming through in various other provinces, Eastern Cape, Gauteng, Limpopo, Northwest, and so on and so forth. So what we're seeing happening in KZN is certainly going to turn out to be a wildfire in other provinces as well. Yeah,
I mean, you're getting quite a bit of conversation going, certainly in the country. That's certainly one thing that you can't deny about the MK party. But pundits are saying that this is essentially, while it's perhaps able to seemingly pull some crowds, a party without a constitution and clear policies and even membership lists. I mean, what do you say to that?
No, I mean, leading into any election, you have to draw up a membership list. That is definitely happening. We in consultation with the various people that we want to bring onto the list. So that's as it pertains to that. A constitution has been drawn up. We've got a draft constitution. Before we release it, and which we will do soon, we need to obviously circulate. And again, because we follow a consultative approach, certain things will not just be published or announced without having engaged the relevant stakeholders. So that's where we're at. There will be a constitution.
Yeah, I think the question really comes from wanting to understand what the structures inside the party look like, right? I mean, it really isn't just about membership lists. There's a big question around how you go about deciding who the leader of the party is. Do you appoint a leader, or do you have internal elections? What is the structure of your NEC going to look like? I mean, those are the big questions, and say, is this a party that just has a loud voice and doesn't have internal structure?
Well, let me put it this way. This is a party that packs a punch and bites. So it's not just a loud voice, and it's a voice of the people, by the way. That's the first point. The second point is, it's not the first time that a party goes into an election with an interim structure. Such was the case with the EFF, such is the case with Action SA. That they went into election with an interim leadership structure, and then obviously ex post facto the elections had a conference, which is in this case an elective conference. To also then further respond to your question, yes, by virtue of us having an interim structure, we are, and we have been, I mean, throughout, the announcement on December 16, been engaging with the various traditional leaders in the various provinces, traditional healers, members of society, and other key stakeholders in the business sector as to who do they want to see, and including the people on the ground, who would they want to see being their leader. And that announcement to be made very soon. So at this point, we just ask South Africans to just be patient with us. We're 2 months, we're working hard, and we will certainly be announcing those.
Okay, and do we know at this point, and can we expect that you'll be sharing with us the information of who MK party funders, for instance, are? I mean, we do have the Political Party Funding Act, and we've seen political parties come out and say, well, these are the donations that we have received, particularly as we go into election season.
Yes, I mean, as is the case, we have a lot of interest, and I mentioned business people who've got a keen interest in funding us. We have been engaging with various business leaders and companies that want to fund uMkhonto weSizwe. But one thing that I need to mention is that obviously we won't take money where people want to dictate to us what we should do. I mean, we were offered close to 1.6 billion rand for us. Yeah, but with the condition that, we don't nationalize the mines, we don't change the constitution, that we should not nationalize the Reserve Bank. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not that kind of party. We will not be bought. We're a party that is going to represent the people. And if you're going to come as a person, a business person, and think that you're going to try and buy us, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly with uMkhonto weSizwe. We're not that kind of a party.
But are you at all concerned about, I suppose, the integrity of those who then donate to the MK party? I mean, we were seeing just recently in January, the gathering that you held in KZN, where a former mayor of uMkhonto said, that gathering cost him around 400,000 rand as a contribution towards the party. This is, of course, a man who was arrested just over a year ago for the possession of an unlicensed firearm. Is that a concern at all for you? And what kind of checks do you then have to check the associations that the party then has?
Look, I mean, naturally, there's always going to be views about certain individuals. And at the end of the day, we're a party for the people. Yes, we will do our checks and balances as far as we can. But also, I think what's also important is the following. We were not funded on that day. So it's not someone that went and put monies in our coffers. No. We have a process for that. In this case, remember, when you go to a meet and greet and you're invited to a party and a rally, where more so it's people. It's not like it's individuals. It's people in a certain area who are garnering support for us and who want to support us. There's nothing you can do but arrive at an event and address the people, because that's what's most important. They want to see us addressing them. So, let's differentiate between a rally that's being funded by people versus, a people or business people funding the party. Those are two different distinctions that I think we need to clarify.
All right, I want to throw something at you. We've been talking about Dinzwalo, 32.1% unemployment levels in the country. Just to test some of your policies as a resolution, what do you do with that? And then a final question: what is the party going to look like on that ballot paper? Will we be seeing former President Jacob Zuma's face on the ballot paper?
Which one do you want me to start with first?
Whichever you choose.
So let's say the following. The reality is that you cannot have job creation and a vibrant economy without proper electricity. I mean, that affects, by virtue of us having load shedding, that in of itself is indeed industrialization, which in effect is hurting the economy. So that's the first thing. We need to stabilize the economy by way of, firstly, having lights and infrastructure. Secondly, when I talk about infrastructure, we need to fix Transnet. That's the backbone of our economy. Logistically, we cannot expect to be bringing in revenue whilst we don't have a proper railway infrastructure, for instance. So there's a lot of other key components which are elements of our economy. I mean, look at what has happened in the past 7 years. The rand has lost 48% of its value. That's because we don't have, just because of load shedding and some of the areas that I've touched on, the fact that we don't have working infrastructure. So you cannot have a 24-hour economy or a digital economy or job creation for small businesses, which are the vortex of momentum for any economy, by the way, for job creation, until you fix the key and the basic elements, which we know who is failing to do so. As it pertains to, who's going to be on the ballot paper, I'm sure in the next 2 weeks, people will know how we're going to go about that, and that announcement, as I mentioned earlier on, will be announced accordingly.
All right. Oh, we'll await that as well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Nhlamulo Ndlela, of course, is the spokesperson for the MK party, speaking to us there.